Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 3, Burnley 2. Manchester United get their first 3 points of the season. How are you feeling? I think that context is key here. Obviously, there's going to be a deluge of people coming in saying it's embarrassing, oh, it's not good enough, this, that and the other. To which I would say, where have you been for the last 10 years? Of course it's embarrassing. It's ridiculous how far this football club has fallen. That's why we've sacked so many managers. That's why we've wasted so much money. That's why we've got shit owners. Of course it's embarrassing. United's situation is appalling. But in the context of where we are, I'll always want Man United to win. And we should have won that game. It's, you know, to need a penalty in effectively the last minute, you know, doesn't tell the story of the game. We should have won the game. We should have been 3-0 up at half time and we're home and hosed. Burnley are not very good. To let them back into the game 2 times exposes the weaknesses that you're already aware of. The question is, will this board do what must be done? Whether Ruben Amorim's the manager at Christmas or a new manager's the manager at Christmas, you will still quite right be sat here saying, why is the midfield like that? This is a midfield that costs £600,000 a week and it can't run the game against Burnley at Old Trafford. Now, Bruno may very well be man of the match. I don't know who the man of the match is. Do your player ratings? Link in the video description or, you know, give us your thoughts. 6th the average and all that jazz. But look, there's a lot to unpick there. But I'm actually very happy that going into an international break, that you and I don't have to sit there in a pit of despair going, we've got 1 point from, you know, or 2 points from 9. We've got 4 points from 9. It's not great. We've got Man City and Chelsea to come, but we live to fight another day. And I think in a battle, that's all you can do. If you want my honest assessment, I'm absolutely ecstatic we've won that game. The difference between winning and drawing is a weekend breaker, isn't it? So, of course, I'm happy with the result. I always want Man United to win. If you want my honest assessment, I said it against Grimsby, we're going to lose a lot of games this season. Of course we are. Maybe the Premier League's going to be more competitive than I thought it was going to be. Bournemouth have just won at Spurs, who I think are a good side. But I look at that Manchester United side, and to steal a comment from Nick P in the watch-along, it's incomplete. It's an incomplete team. Every game is a battle. Remember, we were talking about this in the preview. You'd look at this game and you'd go, a 3 or 4-0 win. Burnley at home, a 3 or 4-0 win. Can I just say, we all said it, there ain't no way this is going to be comfortable today. We knew it last night. We knew it when the team came out. We knew it throughout the game. That was always never going to be 2 or 3-0 to Man United. Never. It was always going to be 2-1 or 3-2 or, you know, it was always going to be an endurance test. So I sit here not surprised. And I actually sit here surprised that people would have a big reaction to that result going, it's embarrassing, it's shit, this, that and the other. Or the other side, we're back. No, that's just who we are. If you want an honest, no bullshit assessment of that game, that's who we are. That's what we do. We struggle against everybody. We don't put anybody away. We're capable of beating anybody, but we're capable of losing to anybody. And I question how Burnley have scored 2 goals. I really do. I question why we're conceding shitty goals like that. I question why we haven't scored 6. You know, we're 1-0 up at half time. Xerxes misses a sitter. Ahmad misses a sitter. We should be home and hosed, but we've made a hell of a lot of hard work out of a game. And look, people will talk about systems and formations the same way they did against Grimsby. Why do you need a system and a formation against Grimsby and Burnley? Why are players on 1, 2, 300 grand a week not able to dominate teams like Grimsby and Burnley? This, to me, is the same issue I said on Thursday morning. We can sack a manager. Of course we can do. We've done it loads. We know how to do it. We're brilliant at it. We're very good at it. So why not do it again? But I still say we've sacked so many managers and there are 3 contributors to any team's success and failure. There is the ownership, there is the manager, and there are the players. And every single time we remove the manager and we never remove the players and we can't remove the owners. All I'm saying is it ain't going well. It ain't going to get any better. We are going to lose more games and we may well sack Amorim. In fact, I predict we probably will. But we'll still have the same players and we'll still have the same owners and the next manager will still be in this same boat as Amorim is a year after he comes in. That's never going to change. So if you sat here moaning about the manager, that's your right. And he may well get sacked because we're not going to suddenly start winning loads of games. But we'll still be back here in a year or two having the same chat. And, you know, I don't have a solution. I'm not saying stick with Amarin and everything will get better. It won't. We need to remove a lot of players and we need to spend a lot of money on replacing them. And we probably need to change our owners because nothing's changed. What I am most interested in now, here, even though it's a match reaction, is why are we not signing a midfielder? Why is David Ornstein saying, apparently, Man United aren't even talking to a midfielder? Why are we not buying a midfielder and why are we not realising we're not going to finish higher than 8th this season? That midfield will not work. Mainu, I like him. Does he really make a difference? Agate, we know he's not playing well. Casemiro is Casemiro. Bruno is not a midfielder. We can't dominate Burnley at Old Trafford. How the bloody hell are we going to beat Palace and Newcastle and Spurs and Villa, you know, at their place? We are going to get run through in the midfield. It's the biggest problem. Look, the goalkeeper's a problem. The goalkeeper is a problem, but so is the midfield. If we're not signing a midfielder, I don't care who the manager is. If we're seriously going to end this transfer window without a midfielder, we're done. Sack the manager. Keep the manager. It won't matter. We're done. If we don't sign a midfielder, we are done. It's that simple to me. So my biggest issue is, thank God we've won the game. We should be beating Burnley at home. We did beat Burnley at home. Well done. We should have beat them more comfortably. But we did win. Fair play. But if we don't do anything in this transfer window in the next 2 days, I don't know what we're moaning for. It really won't matter who's in charge. You know, we could take Arne Slot. We could take Ancelotti. We could take everybody. They won't be able to do anything with that midfield. And we're about to play 2 very good midfields, Man City and Chelsea. So I'm looking at the transfer window. I'm not looking at the result. I'm not looking at VAR. I'm not looking at the goalkeeping errors. I'm not really looking at anything other than what we do in the next 2 days. Because if we don't do anything in the midfield, we're done. And I'm very positive that we've won. And I hope it can kickstart it. But in the years I've watched football and you've watched football, that team does not look balanced. That team does not look complete. I don't know why Deleu's playing at left wing back, by the way. He's rubbish. It's incomplete, it's imbalanced, and we're 3 games into the season and we don't look ready. We don't look ready, do we? We don't look ready for anything. So Cunha's injured. Mount's gone off injured. Probably our 2 best players before they got injured. You know, Šeško's not settled yet. We haven't got a goalkeeper. The midfield looks horrendous. Deleu's playing at left wing back. I don't think things are about to get better. That's why I'll take the win and just say, let's see what happens in the last 48 hours of the window. Celebrate the win, because God knows what's coming next. That's my motto, if I'm being completely honest. With regards to the game itself, before we do the player ratings, look, if you want to get technical, I watched one of the worst officiated games, and I've watched a lot at lunchtime between Chelsea and Fulham. It was horrendous. Was it a penalty on Ahmad? Well, you know what? I'm almost tempted not to even talk about it because there's going to be a load of United haters saying it's a dodgy decision. There's going to be a load of United fans who want Amarim out saying it's a dodgy decision. And I'm almost going to go, I don't really care. Because Ahmad should have scored that chance. Xerxes should have scored that chance. We had a million other chances where we put it over the bar. Penalty or not, we should have won the game anyway. So what are we moaning about a penalty for? Do I think it was a penalty? He's pulling his shirt. Stupid. If you give a penalty away, it's a penalty. It's a bit like Bassi last week. If you're going to wrestle someone into the ground, it's not always given, but if you do it could be a penalty. And also, let's not forget, Mason Mount, the referee gave a penalty. That can only be overruled if it's clear and obviously wrong. Was it clearly and obviously wrong? If it was clearly and obviously wrong, why did they need to take 20 replays to look at it? That should have been a penalty on Mount. Referee gave it on pitch. VAR said we're not so sure. They spent ages looking at it. It's meant to only get overturned if it's clearly and obviously wrong. And it wasn't clearly and obviously wrong, was it? Because they spent so long looking at it. So penalty, yes or no, I don't bloody care. We should have won the game anyway. How you win it doesn't really matter to me. We should have won it anyway. 3-2 should have been 4-0. You know, we should have won the game. We did win the game. We should be beating Burnley at home. Bruno should be man of the match against Burnley at home. Like, I'm not going to run away with this result and say everything's okay, because it's not. But I'm also not going to over-dramatise it and say we were lucky, because we weren't. We made hard work of a game we should have won simply. I don't think we learn a lot either way. So why are we trying to write a story? Like, we beat Burnley. Great. My weekend's not ruined. Let's do something in the window. I don't really want to spend forever talking about Burnley because we weren't unlucky. We weren't lucky. We should have won the game. It was closer than it should have been. We should be beating Burnley. Simple as that. I don't think there's a story about Jamie Amorim or Amorim out or anything like that. There's no story about systems. There's no story about sacking a manager. That's just dramatisation of something that doesn't exist. There's also, on the flip side, no story about us being back. There's no story about us looking promising to get going this season. I think it's going to be a very difficult season if we don't make changes. Simply as that. Paul Cassidy said, did you hear Amorim played Cheryl Cole's fight for this love to motivate the players? Well, if he did that, he needs to get sacked. Have we got a quiet agreement that Brighton will sell as Belabour in January? That's how it seems we're acting. We'll have more funds now as well. Thoughts, says Nicky. Why January and why not now? Savage Life, thanks for your super chat. The curse is lifted. We are back. Don't worry, Mark, says David. I tell you what, if you want something of positivity tonight, our record of never losing, always winning a game when we've been in front at half time, I can't believe we've still got that record, and it was very, very close to going today. Burnley robbed, says Christopher. Mate, you need to get out more. You see, you definitely need to watch football more. Burnley robbed is the most inaccurate assessment of that game ever. It can only be rage bait. They weren't robbed. Don't like what I see from Amorim at all. Feet up on the dugout is petulant and disrespectful. Bizarre behaviour and media duties. Big ego. We're trying to remove personalities like that. Bad leader. You've clearly never spent any time around Jose Mourinho or other big personalities, have you? Pep Guardiola. We should have won all three Premier League games, says Nathan. Yeah, I think you make a good point, Nathan. I mean, we should have beat Fulham. We should have been 2-0 up at half-time. We should have been 3-0 up at half-time against Burnley. And we should have got a point against Arsenal. We should probably have 7 points, not 4. But there's still a lot of problems with that team. I don't think we can sit here and say we should have 9 from 9 and everything's okay. There's huge issues in that team. Cheers from LA, says LA Red Devil. My son Nick and I watched the game. Give a shout out to him. He's feeling sick and still got up for the game. Shout out to Nick. Thank you very much. I hope he lasts long enough to get a goalkeeper and a midfielder, says PZ. Let's be clear. It'll be fucking criminal if we don't sign a midfielder. Criminal. And who's responsible for that? Thank you very much to Sean. We're going to win the league, says Luke. Have we done that one from Nicky? Mark, we did that as well. Savage Life, thank you. Delo, Delit, Yoro and Burmo, our best players today. I thought Delo was shit. We're going to do the player ratings in a moment. I thought Delo was shit. Big P. I really did. I know he got an assist, but that's like saying you score a goal one moment over a shit performance. I don't think he played well. For the short period of time when Manu went on, suddenly everything starts to work because everyone was in their position. We needed one more midfielder anyway, says 100. I don't think we were that good second half. I thought we were better in the first half, to be honest. I think when Mount and Cunha came off, we got worse. I don't think Xerxes looks fit. I don't think Sheshko looks fit. I thought Manu was okay, but I think we were better in the first half. I back Amorim 100%, says Murillo. Well, I back Amorim 100% because I think whether he gets sacked or not, the same problems will still be there, as I've said before. We've had a big super chat here from Bruno is a 10, kept him out of the game after half-time, has to play as an 8 for us. Manu for Mount was the demise, says Andrew. Yeah, hopefully that Mason Mount injury is not bad if he is injured. Players need to shoot low and hard. Look at Liverpool. Yeah, I've spoken about this before, Island Boy. Liverpool have mastered the art of shooting low. Like, most of their goals are low. And United shoot over the bar all the time. That's technique. If Liverpool... Somebody was saying maybe it's the new ball. Liverpool are scoring goals with low shots with that ball. We're shooting over the bar all the time. technically these players need to do work. Come on. I think Ahmad, Xerxes, Delo and others lack the quality on the final pass, says Brandon. Luke says we're going to win the league. Today's another reason why the system was never the problem. It's a matter of the players, like they want to play good football or not, says Class. Mark, our coach is not using the ammo provided to him. Why is Sesko sitting? He's not fit, Breach. It's very clear. We didn't deserve to win, and whoever is happy about that lives in a complete denial. You need to go and watch the game back, Super Killer. I know you're hammering him out, but you can't make up stuff. We didn't deserve to win. Please watch the game. Look at the stats. We did. Areola reminding his class again today, says Gareth. They played for the coach. Enough for now, says Murillo. These players missed some sitters, but at least we got the much needed 3 points, says Grillo. It's the players who can't finish, Mark. There's nothing wrong with the system. The players aren't good enough, George. It's not about whether they missed chances. I still don't think they're good enough, some of them. Midfield needs fixed, but we're a hell of a lot better moving the ball with Casemiro, says Ollie. In my opinion, the system worked today. Players did not play well, says Asaya. Cobby would need to sort himself out for the pay rise, says Michael. Win's a win. Missed so many chances. Let's just hope the club get Amrim, a goalkeeper and a midfielder, says Mark. Look, I don't think this is going to happen. But if United went and bought Lamens and a good midfielder now, that result becomes a lot better. You know, you come back from the international break with a good midfielder and a good goalkeeper, and the season starts going. If we don't bring a midfielder in, I think this season's going to be like that, like last year. I'm on a train in Canada listening, and we won, says Beep. Enjoy your trip. Mark, which midfielder do you have in mind before it closes? The best you can get, Sergio. Get the centre midfielder from Panama. Check him out, says Andre. Delighted with the win. Disappointing performance, says Rory C. We play better, such as high pressure, loads more to improve, new keeper and a midfielder, Amrim in, says Cola. Maino showed the world why he can't get into the team, lacking in all areas, send him on loan, says Marlow. For the first time I can see what Amrim's trying to do, he just needs the players, at least another 500 million, says Sai. We thought it was going to be 3-4 versus Grimsby, says Fakes. Sometimes you just have to win, says Caleb. Hopefully a win like this is the kick we need. Hope so, Caleb. Bruno doesn't play as a 10 for Portugal, no problem, says Oliver. Do you watch Portugal play, Oliver? Because you're the second person who said this. Portugal play with a midfield 3. They play with 2 sitters and a more advanced midfielder, and that's Bruno. If that's not a 10, I don't know what is. We need a centre-back as well as a centre midfielder and a goalkeeper, says Maliki. Disaster averted for now, says Sanchez. I'm so happy and relieved. Hate how much this club controls me, says GGMU. This Delo was spectacular. No thinking, just cross, says JB. Congratulations on winning the league, says Nicholas. Paul, thank you very much for joining the members club. Celebrating in Burnley's faces is embarrassing, says Joe Wright. Look, I don't know the pressure these players are under. I don't, you know, are we going to be the celebration police? Bruno and Delo were celebrating that corner like they'd won the bloody league. Yeah, standards are on the floor, but I don't remember a season where I don't remember going into a Man United season saying we can't finish in the top 4. So, you know, standards are on the floor. Of course they are. Players celebrating a win, I'm not going to moan about it. It shows they care. Right, let's do the player ratings because I know they're ready to go in the forum, and I am back with you at 8 o'clock tonight. We need a goalkeeper, don't we? 5. We need a goalkeeper. I think it's a little bit harsh on the second goal. It's bouncing around a lot, but does he command his area? Does he instill confidence? Of course he doesn't. Below par, 5 out of 6. Average being 6. Lenny Yoro and De Ligt today, I'd probably give them both a 6.5. It's difficult. You're playing with a goalkeeper you can't trust. You're playing with a midfield that's not good enough. And yeah, they weren't as good as previous weeks, but I don't think either of them had a bad game. And I think still they're probably our 2 best players this season. So 6.5 for both of them for me. Luke Shaw, probably a 6. Yeah, the left-hand side was our weakness, but more because of Delo. They were getting down that side more than the right-hand side, which is interesting when you've got Ahmad playing down the right-hand side. Burnley couldn't really exploit it, but they definitely did exploit our left-hand side. So I'd give Luke Shaw a 6. Look, Ahmad defensively, they didn't really exploit him, but going forward, I don't think he was that good up until the penalty, so I'd give him a 5.5. Yeah, I do agree. Look, he wins as the penalty at the end. He's a dangerous player. I really do like him, but he hasn't had the best start to the season. He can be a lot better. He was poor against Grimsby. He was probably slightly below average tonight. I'd give him a 5.5, but he did win the penalty, and for me, that was a penalty. So it's a big moment in the game. Casemiro, 5.5 for me. I mean, people said his passing was good, but look, that midfield got ran through a lot. We can't control games. Games are won and lost in the midfield, and the reason we can't comfortably put teams away is bad finishing, but it's also we always let people back in because we can't control a game. And I think this gets missed a lot in tactical analysis. When we scored the first goal, Burnley came back into the game. When we scored the second goal, Burnley came back into the game. Controlling the midfield is having that 10, 15 minutes when the team is going to come at you and you lock it down. And we never can lock it down. It's not just about teams running through our midfield. It's also about we're very bad at locking a game down. Couldn't do it against Fulham. Couldn't do it again today. We always let teams back in because that midfield is not able to lock a game down. It's erratic. 5.3. Bruno, probably my man of the match today. I'd give him a 7. Longevity probably gave it him that because I thought Mason Mount played well. But, you know, he scored the penalty. Yeah, look, Bruno was a 7 today. Look, I like Bruno. I like him as a 10. I don't like him in the midfield. He's erratic. He's indisciplined. He's our best player and worst player at times. But I'll give him man of the match today. It was a big moment. He missed last week. You know, it meant a lot to him. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be a very important player for us. He's going to be a contentious issue all season if we play him as a number 8. But today, against Burnley for 300 grand a week, he should be bloody man of the match, really. I mean, what do you expect? He's our best player. I'd expect him against Burnley to put a performance in, and you know he did put a performance in today. Was it amazing? No. Was it good enough to be my man of the match? Yes. Delo was a 5 for me. I know he got the assist, but there was a lot of misplaced passes. There was a lot of poor defensive work. There were some good crosses into the box. You can never doubt his personality, his hard work. You know, I like him as a player. I like his dedication to the cause, but he's not a left back. You know, he's woefully imbalanced. He did get a good cut back for Mbeumo. He never stops running, but he is a weakness, you know. Mbeumo, 7, thought he had a good game. Could be a man of the match as well. Absolutely got no problem with that. I've given it to Bruno. You could give it to Mbeumo. Lovely goal. One of the bright sparks in the team. Really like this signing, and I think he's growing game by game. I think he has lacked fitness because of how late he came into the squad, but he seems to be getting better by the game. That's 2 goals in 2 games. And I think this is a really important point I made in the watch-along. When Burnley equalise last season, I think we're in big trouble. This season, we score again straight away. That's why we bought Mbeumo and Cunha. They are Premier League game changers, and although they did equalise again, I was very impressed with how quickly we got back into the game. So if you get Mbeumo man of the match, I ain't got a problem. In fact, I think he might be man of the match for you lot. Mason Mount was a 6.5. I thought he played really well, but obviously he's only played half of the game. Disappointing. I really cannot say anything other than the stories out of Man United about Mason Mount is that he's going to be plagued by injuries for a long time. He's never going to be able to play 2 games a week, and he's probably never going to have a run of games. It's so disappointing because he's had a good start to the season. The question now, is it precautionary? Was it managed minutes? Or is he actually going to be out for 6 weeks? I don't know. But we can't be shocked. And to be honest, if he's out for a couple of months, I'll be fuming. But what can you do? You know, we've got a player that is injury prone. So I'm hoping he's not. But, you know, to be honest, with Mason Mount, you're always walking on thin ice waiting for it to crack. And, you know, I don't know what to say. Good player, but might be injured now. Same with Cunha. Look, Cunha's not injury prone, of course, but everything was going through him up until the injury. And we just hope it's not a long injury because I think he's a very, very important player for us. 6.5 for me. Mazraoui, 6. You know, good to have him back. Mainu, probably a 6. Some would say a 5.5. I don't think, you know what, I don't think Mainu did a lot wrong against Grimsby, and I don't think Mainu did a lot wrong today. Is he the player everybody's prophesying? No. No, he's a work in progress. I think Amrim's absolutely correct. Mason Mainu needs to stay and fight and improve. Is he ready to be in the team? No. You know, and I think Amorim again today has proven that this whole Mainu against Amorim thing is bollocks. This is a player that is publicly saying, I want to leave, and he's coming on at half-time. If Amorim didn't like Mainu, he'd have used Agate. As risky as that might have been. He brings Mainu on instead of Agate. He clearly values Mainu. And Mainu wants to go on loan. So I just think, like, does Mainu come on and light the world up and make you go, we don't need a midfielder? No, we still need a midfielder. So I want Mainu to stay. But like Amorim, he's got to stay and fight and improve. He's not going to get straight into the team guaranteed, is he? He's not. I do want him to stay. I don't know why he wants to go. You know, you played another 45 minutes today. Xerxes, look, he ain't fit. 5.5, he ain't fit. Looked good against Grimsby, looked off the pace today. He's had no pre-season. He looked like a player that wasn't fit. You know, he should have scored that goal. There was a few good flicks, but, you know, I think he'll get better with match sharpness, certainly. Alfresco says, what game were you watching giving Bruno man of the match and Mbeumo man of the match? I gave him the same score, mate. If you want to give him Mbeumo man of the match, fine. Benjamin Seshko, 5.5. Yeah, good couple of chances on his head. Couldn't get them on target. Doesn't look that sharp. Needs to get sharp over the international break. This international break is actually good because players that aren't going on international duty get 2 weeks in their legs. Players that are going on international duty, as long as they don't get injured, come back with a couple of games under their belt. So I don't mind the September international break because the players that are behind catch up. But hopefully we'll start to see what Sheshko's all about after the international break. With regards to Amorim, 50,000 watching, by the way. Thank you very much. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. With regards to Amorim, I would say that, look, it's difficult because Amorim outers are going to pelt him. Amorim inners, like myself, who don't see the point in sacking another manager, are going to say, it's only Burnley, but you can only beat what's in front of you. Is it Amorim's fault that we needed a last-minute penalty to win the game? No, it's not. We should have been 3-0 up at half-time. If that turns into 4-0, he's getting a 7 or an 8. Because it's a 3-2 last-minute penalty, he's probably going to get 5 and 6s from people. I would just say give it a standard 6. But I don't agree with 5.6 because when you're looking at the game, I'm not surprised by 5.6 because some people just don't like Amorim now. But in the context of the game, what does the manager actually do wrong? He picks a team that should be 3-0 up at half-time and ends up winning 3-2 with a last-minute penalty. That's a player-led result. The manager has managed the 3-0 win for me. The players have managed the 3-2 win. But I'm not surprised. I don't think it's possible with this playing squad to win games 3-0. And I think that's the lesson. That should have been 3-0, but the players can't do it. They'll find a way to make it difficult every game. When was the last time United put somebody away 3-0 comfortably? I don't know. It might have happened recently, but we're not very good at it. So for me, I'd give Amorim a 6. It's Burnley. But you could give him higher. You shouldn't be giving him any lower because it's the players that have made that difficult for me. Man of the match. I put my hands up. I've misread the room there. No, I haven't misread the room. I'm entitled to my opinion. I think winning the game with that penalty, I'd give it to Bruno. And I do think Bruno had a good game, by the way. I do think he had a good game. So I've only given him a 7, and I gave Mbeumo a 7. So if you want to give Mbeumo man of the match, I'm very happy for him to have it. And he's got it with 82% of the vote. But I do think Bruno had a good game, whether we like him or not. And I do like Bruno. I just don't like him as an 8. It's as simple as that. Ram says, Ahmad missed one sitter and Mbeumo had some chances. Same with Xerxes. When you say these players are not good enough, who are you referring to? Maybe listen to the player ratings, mate. There's a vast array of choices there. I don't need to list off who's not good enough. Like, how many players did I say aren't match fit? Well, they're not good enough then, are they? How many, Ahmad didn't have a good game. Not good enough then today, is he? Delo didn't have a good game. Not good enough then today, is he? Casemiro didn't have a good game. Not good enough then today, is he? Luke Shaw was average. I'd rather have someone better. Not good enough, is he? Xerxes wasn't match fit. Not good enough then, is he? Sesko wasn't fit. Not good enough then, is he? Binder, not good enough. Do you want a few more? Just because I'm saying they're not good enough, I'm not saying let's sell them tomorrow. I'm saying there's 6 or 7 players in that team today who are below average. You're not going to get a good performance if you've got... I mean, look, go back through the player ratings. Who was 6 or above? Mount, De Ligt, Yoro, Bruno, and Burmo. We've only got 5 players above 6. And 2 of them went off injured before half-time. So we're still struggling. We're incomplete. We need a midfielder. We need a goalkeeper. Some of our players aren't fit. Some of them are underperforming. I ain't getting rid of Ahmad, by the way. I ain't getting rid of Xerxes. I ain't getting rid of Sesko. I'm not getting rid of them, but they were below average today. So therefore, they're not good enough. Today. They need to be better. They need to be better. Thanks everyone for watching. Get over to the fan forum. I think you better go in with Mburmo man of the match in the spamming. Mburmo MTOM. Well done. I'm back with you at 8 o'clock talking transfers. It's a busy last 24 hours, 48 hours. We need to put the pressure on about transfers. We'll be talking that 8 o'clock, but get over to the fan forum. I'll see you back at 8. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. I'll speak to you on in a bit. A win's a win. Never don't celebrate a win for Man United, especially when we don't do it very often. Don't waste it. Thanks for watching. Oh, hold on before I go. Fucking hell. Sorry. David's just gifted 50 memberships. Bloody hell. I'll just stay for a moment. Bloody hell. 50 memberships from David. Wow. Absolutely incredible, David. I think we should go into the live chat of the fan forum with David, King David. I nearly missed it. Into the live chat, King David. Go. Speak to you in a bit.